So, when they get into the dorms, it's Serafina, Remy, Adrian, and Alex sitting in a room. Sitting in Remy's dorm room, just having a fun sleepover. Talking. They're playing Truth or Dare right now, and Alex says, Adrian, truth or dare? Adrian says, dare. He says, I don't pick truth. He says, I dare you to pull up your sleeves, because we've never actually seen you with a sleeveless shirt or sleeve or short sleeves. We've never actually seen that. He says, and he says, you've only wore pants as well. You've never wore shorts? Adrian looks away, saying, no, I'm not doing it. He says, come on, man, it's a dare. He says, I'm not doing it. Now don't ask it again. He says, come on. As he puts his hand there, he gets a giant wave of memories as he slaps away his hand, going, he goes, whoa, dude, calm down. It was just a thing. He says, get your hands away from me. Then he gets a memory from about when he was 5 of someone telling him, if you tell anyone about what's on your arms or legs, you're going to die. As then he curls up kind of and puts his head in. Because he always wears a sweater. And we always know that he wears a sweater. And if he's... So yeah, he says, as they say, is he okay? Then Remy does a kind of nervous smile, saying, alright, Adrian, why don't you go back to your room? Let's just cancel off the sleepover for now. He goes, okay. As he walks out of the room, shakily, he says, you two stay. Alex and Serafina say, okay, what's up? They say, what do you mean, what's up? Alex, you just slapped your hand away when you tried to go for it. And then he started curling up into a ball and started shaking. What do you mean, what's up? He goes, yeah, sorry. He says, so what could that be about? He says, well, tonight we're gonna devise a plan. We're gonna have to be sneaky enough. Serafina, stop time and pull up his wrists. Pull up his sleeves. We're gonna have to take a picture because there's no way it's good. If it's not good. As Aiden's sleeping in his dorm, they go into his dorm room, silently open the door. Oh god. So, yeah, this was an hour after Adrian left, which was at midnight. So, they sneak into his room, open his door, and they quietly open his wrist, and they're horrified. They all, Remy screams as she faints, going, Gah! Everyone in the dorm, including the teacher, busts open Adrian's door as they see what's going on there. They say, what's wrong? Now, I'm not gonna finish.
Pizza rolls?
As when she screamed, everyone busts down the door, and they say, what's wrong, Remy? He says, with kind of sad tears in her eyes, says, and frightful tears, says, look at his wrist, and on Kanye says, it can't be that bad. As she puts her hand over her mouth, saying, That's terrible. What they see is deep dents in his wrist and cuts and giant amounts of burns and bruises. Millions and millions. There's like tons of them. They think to themselves, and he's also, if you know Deku's like wrist, how he has those marks in them, he's kind of got those, except they're red. Like, also while he's somehow Adrian's a deep sleeper, so he's like still sleeping, even after scream. Then when they're feeling on his arms to see if they feel any more dents in, they feel something cold, or something wet on their hand. They say, is he drooling? But then they look and they see blood. They go, blood? As his mouth is bleeding somehow. They say, this is one messed up kid. Then they God, it's literally every second. Yeah. This is why I don't like to be out here. This is one of the reasons why I don't like being out here. This is a big reason why I don't like being out in the living room. Oh gosh, dang it. So, they feel it. Then, Adrian awakes saying, "What the hell are you doing?" As he smacks Remy away because she's literally right in his face. He goes, as he looks down and goes, "No, no, no, no. Why did you do that?" As he starts to get electrocuted by something. It's not Remy, of course. He goes, trying his best to make it stop, but he says, but then it stops out of nowhere. Then he says, "Get the hell out of my room now." Then they all stare at Akane saying, "How long did you bully him for?" She says, "I barely bullied him. I bullied him about 5 days, and then I stopped. None of that was that severe. None of it. And that's all I remember." Then they leave the room, and then they all go to sleep. The next day in the morning, they head into class, and Adrian essentially calls up to the principal's office. He walks in and goes, "Yes, sir." He's essentially knocked out by something. He goes, as he falls to the ground. So with this, he gets normal tea. I'm kidding. He says, as he wakes up with, if you know what kind of handcuffs I mean, they're like the handcuffs where, like, you can't pull out of them. They're not like the chain handcuffs. They're like the box ones, where it's like a metal thing and then there's only 2 holes that you put your hands into. He's got that. Now, a man in red hair who he realizes is the principal of his old school, who's wearing a jacket and all that crap. He says he doesn't know who he is, though. He says, "Who are you? And why am I in this room?" His eyes glow red, saying, "Do you remember me?" Adrian's taken right back to the past of his middle school days, of his 8th grade days, and he's reminded of all the trauma he's done to other people by beating them up, telling them what to do if they don't. They do get beaten up, and how much of a bad person he was. And he gets reminded of this for 3 days straight. As he's reminded of all of his past memories, of hurting his past friends. And then, yeah. He says, "Now I want you to do the same here, instead of putting that little act on. Got it, Adrian?" As he screams, because he doesn't want to hear it, he doesn't want to see it, he says, "Shut up, shut up, shut up," as he slams his head into the guy's face. He goes, "Boy, you little brat," and grabs his head and slams it into the handcuffs and makes his head bleed. As he swings his head around, knocking the blood into his eyes so he can't see, he goes, "Damn you little..." As he tries to hit him, Adrian moves his head and headbutts him in the face, going, "Ah." Then he punches him in the face, then slams him his head on the desk a million times as he goes, "Ah," as he's trying to fight back. Then he grabs Adrian's head and keeps on slamming it over and over and over. And he says, "You will not tell anyone about this. Got it, mister? You were going to say that you were beaten up by a bull." As he headbutted again by Adrian, saying, "I'm not going to hide anything again." As he headbutts him again, he says, "Damn you, little brat." He says, as he smirks, saying, as he puts his head again, saying, he says, "Until you return, now, to your old self, I'm gonna make you much worse." He says, all of your life was a lie. As he stabs it, as he puts his fingers into Adrian's eyes, going, saying, those aren't your real eyes. Those are fake eyes that we gave to you so no one would know your real identity. As they pull his eyes out, going, he goes, screaming in 10 million volt thunderbolt pain. As he gets knocked out and his old eyes are put back in, he says, now you little brat, you'll remember respect. He says, oh yeah, and since you have your normal eye color back, those were the first artificial eyes that gave you artificial power. Your power was never blue fire. It was called power manipulation, aka aura manipulation. Instead of your sword, you were the first human baby to ever be possessed without a sword ability. You were possessed with a normal ability. So, now how will you deal with this? He yells, I'll deal with the sword myself. He says, oh yeah, that Troy guy had your eyes that entire time. As he slams his fist into his head, which knocks